All right, before we get into this topic, we have to advise viewers, discretion is needed. It contains sensitive content. So we're asking you to, apply a little PG to what we're about to say. Children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison has raised concerns about adult women targeting young boys, especially at sporting events. And joining us now is University of the West Indies assistant lecturer at the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, Carla Moore, to discuss a little bit more about this. Hi,
morning,
Carla.
Ms. Moore. How are you?
Greetings. I'm very well. How are you all?
Good, thank you.
Give thanks, and thanks for asking. Let me flip the switch a little bit before we go to what you're really here to talk about. Is this different from an older man looking at younger, a much younger lady? Is this different, or is the same kind of dynamics we're talking about?
In terms of the harm that it can cause and in terms of the way that power plays out, there are some differences, but ultimately it's the same. There's an imbalance of power and there's a potential for the younger person to get hurt.
So if that is so, are we getting the same pushback about older men dealing with younger women?
I haven't seen us getting the same pushback on this. And I think some of it has to do with the gender dynamics that are at play. So the first thing is it's very important, especially in Jamaica, for young men to prove A, that they're masculine, B, that they're sexually active, and C, that they're straight, that they're having sex with women. So when they have sex with older women, it's not seen as a form of abuse or them being taken advantage of because it's brought them ducks early, or big woman want them. So it's something that they can add to their accolades because they're getting women that are out of their league, which is what the older woman is considered. Because even a young man, he's viewed as a man. So any opportunity he has to get sex and to attract women, that is considered a plus. And I think because of that, the reality that we're dealing with an adult and a young person gets lost in translation. And so people don't necessarily respond to it the same way.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, issues of masculinity, which I'll raise a little bit later on. But why do you think that the alarm is being raised now? Because I don't think it's a now issue. Why is it that it's become more prevalent? Is that why the alarm is being raised?
I think there are a couple of things that are contributing to the alarm being raised. One, I think there are more people having this conversation and thinking about the fact that boys need protection and that boys are also children and we need to treat them as such and protect them as such. So before, where this used to go on and nobody never used to say anything about it, I think more people have that type of gender consciousness now that this is actually an issue. I also think that some women are more to the forefront with it. They're not hiding the fact that they're doing it. And some of that is related to some women feeling more empowered. I think overall in society, there's a type of sexualization of young people of all ages. And so it just kind of out there in your face. I think also we do have more young men who are presenting themselves like them a big man. And because they present themselves like them a big man, some women want to take that as an opportunity to treat them like them a big man without recognizing that you're the adult in the situation. You have the responsibility to maintain the boundaries even if the young person is trying to pass them. So I think those are some of the factors. And I think we are also more sensitive to the fact that it's even happening. I know that one of the things that we see coming up a lot is in the dance, when you have the little boy and the big woman are dance with him and all man are gyrating and things she's doing with the little boy. And in the past, people would have big it up and say, hey, yeah, I come out in a dance with big woman. More and more, I see people saying, why are you in your bed? You're a picnic. You're in your bed. So I think we're more conscious of it. The women are a bit braver, and those things have combined to create this space where we're paying more attention.
Having said all of that, Carla, what's the concern? What is the concern?
The concern here is that we are dealing with youth, young people. And I want to take this moment to be clear. The conversation that we're having here is about people who are attracted to young men who have passed puberty. If they have not passed puberty, then we're dealing with pedophilia. That is a different psychological disorder that is something that people can be diagnosed with. In Jamaica, we tend to use the term pedophile, or in general, people use the term pedophile across the board. No, pedophilia is when you're attracted to people who look like them not past puberty. Now we have other terms for the attraction to young people, but we're not talking about that. However, we're still talking about something that is problematic. Imagine that you're in a relationship, you're the person that is younger. A lot of times, age equals power. So you don't have the same power as the person that you're in a relationship with. That creates the conditions for abuse to happen, for the person to take advantage of you, for them to feel like you're not a chat, or you not to have no chat for them, right? There's no negotiating power there. It also affects the way that you view your future relationships. It affects you psychologically. Maybe you're unable to have relationships without big divisions of power, or you feel that there should be big divisions of power in your relationship. You turn around and act that out. For the young men who can recognize that there's some type of abuse or they've been taken advantage of in some way, this can lead to mental health concerns, depression, which is exacerbated by the fact that we not feel a man supposed to talk about them something. So they have to keep it to themselves. And in particular, they may struggle to find other men to empathize with them when they want that type of support. So it can affect them in the short term and it can affect them in the long term in terms of how they view themselves, the way that they view relationships. Sometimes there is manipulation. There is a type of grooming that can happen, which is you're trying to turn the person into your idea of what a perfect partner should be. And they come into their understanding of relationships with these types of dynamics in place. And further on, when they start to unpack it, it's very harmful for them.
I don't know which age difference we're talking about, because I also find that if I'm 45 and I'm dealing with somebody who is, say, 19 years old, I say, what kind of foolishness is that? But if I'm 60 and I'm dealing with somebody who is 39, it don't seem that is that strange. And it's the same age difference, but it don't seem that it's that strange. So I'm not certain what we're talking about, whether the lady is 40 and the little youth is 15 or 16, or as you say, past puberty. But if it's
about the stage of development, Neville.
Right,
I think it's about the stage of development that the person is.
Okay, so I was just going to say, if the youth is a big youth, early 20s youth with a 40-year-old woman, is there any plus to that kind of relationship at all for the younger person? Any plus at all?
The plus I'm hard pressed to say. What I have heard younger men who specifically seek to date older women say, they want to date older women because they feel the women are clearer on what they want, because the women are older, they have more experience, there's less of this back and forth. Some of them also prefer the older women, because they think that the older women are more likely to be financially stable, so them not have to find money out of pocket for mind the women. Some of them also prefer older women because they think the woman can give them advice and help to guide them in life in a way that a younger woman can. In some ways, the older woman represents something of a mother figure, and also she's at a different stage in her development than he is, which, if you think about some younger women who like to date older men, they will tell you, oh, older men, them have their money together, them have them head together, them not running down a million woman because them don't get that out of them system. So some of the thinking is actually the same, where we consider that age equals stability, financial stability and emotional stability. Also, some young men will say that older women are more free in terms of what they're willing to experiment with in the bedroom because they've grown out of some of the hang-ups that society gives to them. But again, what we're actually romanticizing is somebody who is in a very different stage of development from you are, and there can be power issues that come there. But a 21-year-old is a big smarty. You is an adult. Somebody might look at that and go, what is a 40-year-old and a 21-year-old sitting down and talking about? Again, because you're at two different stages in life. But definitely, if I am now looking at a 30-year-old and a 10-year-old, a 35-year-old and a 15-year-old, right there, clearly we can see red flags.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I understand.
Lots of things to unpack, transactional relationships, and all of that. Before we go, where do we go from here, Carla? Do we need more public education, more awareness?
Yes. Yes, we absolutely do. We need to have more conversations about the fact that boys are children. Young men are young men, and some of them are still just old boys. And we need to treat them as such. The fact that a person is male doesn't mean that them automatically big, that them automatically understand life, and that you can automatically treat them as an adult. They are worthy and entitled to the same protections that you would give to a girl of that same age. And women also need to hold themselves accountable. You cannot treat every male person like he's a man. Some of them are boys. And women can also be predators, which is something that I think we overlook a lot of the times, especially because the gender dynamics doesn't lead us to think of women as being the ones who have the power. Women are capable of holding and abusing power, and we need to have more conversations about this and think about how we can protect our boys.
Yep. I'm not sure, and I might be having a senior moment here, but I'm not sure if you said what it does for the older woman. I think you mentioned what it does for the younger man, but I'm not sure if you tell me what it does for the older woman.
So what happens for the younger woman is, one, overall, our societies value youth. We like youth in a partner. We want a partner that looks youthful. They're attracted to that. It's not lost on me that the children's advocate is talking about student athletes. So a lot of times it's them in at the gym and they're very fit. Them have the muscles, they have the physique. They have a physique that a man who is older might have a harder time trying to achieve. There's also the fact that when you're in a relationship with somebody who is younger than you, a lot of times they'll defer to you. So women who, when they're in relationships with people of the same age, kind of have to be in this endless struggle with a man who is trying to control them and tell them what to do because I am the man and I'm in charge. When they're with a younger man, sometimes they don't have to do that. So there's a type of freedom and an autonomy that they might enjoy. They may also be having generational benefits. And like using the term benefits is very weird for me here, but it's a term that's available. They're generational benefits because the younger generation of men may be more empathetic. They might be more emotionally intelligent. They may have moved away from some of the character traits that women find problematic in older men. And so they feel that they can have a more fulfilling relationship. Also, some women don't want a relationship. They want somebody that them can have a thing with and move on. With an older man, he might try to pressure you into making that into a relationship. With a younger man, you have the power and you can tell him so the buck stops here. So again, the issues of power come up, the issues of beauty, what we think of as physically attractive, the way that we sexualize youth, all of that plays out inside of these relationships.
Yeah. Very well explained. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning. God bless.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. University of the West Indies Assistant Lecturer at the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, Miss Carla Moore.
All right, coming up, Gospel Star 2025 winner Raheem Betty.